We don't know exactly when popcorn first exploded onto the snack scene, but it was likely thousands of years ago. Popcorn grains dating back nearly 5,600 years have been discovered in caves in New Mexico. And down through the ages, this unique grain just keeps popping up. Nothing says it's showtime like a big bowl of popcorn. This grain has certainly made it big in the entertainment biz. This success story has its roots on the farm, of course. Popcorn is one of 6 types of corn, and it's the only kind that pops. They even breed the popcorn plant to enhance traits like color, taste, and poppability. By fall, the crop is ready to harvest. Peeling back the husks reveals kernels that are smaller and harder than those of other corn. At harvesting, popcorn has a moisture content of 16 to 20%. That's a bit too high, so to bring it down to 14%, they condition the crop in these giant bins, pumping warm air up through it to accelerate the drying. It's a critical step. Popcorn that's too dry may not pop, and if it's too wet, it could spoil when stored. In the factory, a series of oscillating screens sift chunks of cob and broken kernels out of the popcorn. Vacuum pipes pull the finer impurities to a dust collector and suck the larger impurities into a chute. They end up in a waste bin to be discarded or used in animal feed. At this junction, the system funnels the filtered popcorn in one direction and the impurities in another. It's the perfect opportunity to see the difference between the two streams. The purification process continues at the gravity table. Its vibrating action, along with powerful fans, cause the popcorn to rise and float on air. In the process, kernels that are too heavy or too light gravitate away from the center and are shunted aside. The grains in the middle of the mass are the optimal size, but leaving nothing to chance, they go through one more screening. The kernels now head into a very different kind of sorter. Inside, the kernels fly by an electronic eye. It detects remaining debris or defective grains. The machine sends a blast of air to get rid of them. It's time to test a sample of the production run. He pours in 250 grams of kernels along with some oil. As the pot reaches 230 degrees Celsius, the water in the kernels starts to steam. As the pressure builds, those kernels explode and turn inside out. This reveals the starchy part of the kernel and creates a white fluffy puff. To pass this test, the popcorn has to expand 44.5 times the original volume. The tester loads the popped puffs into a tube with measurements on it, and this batch of popcorn is right on the mark. As you can see, a little bit of popcorn can really go a long way. From a pea-sized kernel to a puffy white treat in a matter of minutes. And although popcorn kernels come in a range of colors, that starchy part that's exposed by popping is always white. Now it's all in the packaging. Maintaining the correct amount of moisture in each kernel is critical. Heat sealing the bag locks in the grains to keep them from drying out on a store shelf. This paper bag, destined for the concession market like movie theaters, is multi-layered. It includes a vapor barrier to control moisture loss. It's taken 6 months to grow this popcorn and a couple of weeks more to process it. But it will all be worth it at snack time, because when these grains explode into a mountain of munchies, there should be enough for the whole gang.
I've never been an early riser, but hey, I've got to eat. So I have a bowl for breakfast, a snack bar on the run. Thankfully, the goodness of cereal comes in many forms. Our breakfast cereals were born out of religious beliefs of the American Seventh-day Adventists, vegetarians, who in 1860 founded a sanatorium where patients were fed only cereals, wheat flakes invented by Dr. John Harvey Kellogg. His brother, William Keith, saw a promising future and built the first flakes factory to market the product, whose success would later be imitated by the famous Charles William Post as Post cereals. The making of frosted corn flakes starts in this cooker. The corn kernels are cooked here for 2 hours and 20 minutes. The corn kernels are then ground up. They're ground up by this endless worm screw. It also determines the number of kilos of kernels needed to make up a cereal recipe. The ground corn is next dried in a dryer unit, an important step before they're cooked. To give them their nice flat shape, the corn kernels are crushed in the flake roller. 2 rollers turn opposite to each other, and the kernels fall into the constricted space between them. The flakes then fall onto this conveyor, and the next step will be cooking. The flakes arrive at the cooking oven. They're shaken to make sure they will be uniformly browned. The flakes exit the oven well browned. Then they fall into this chute and head in the direction of the next step. This vibrating conveyor sorts the flakes and retains only the right-sized ones. This drum mixes the flakes and sprays them with a sweet solution boiling at 230 degrees centigrade. The sweet solution is dried, and a rake uniformly spreads out the frosted flakes on the canvas. Now they add in vitamins. The cereals are placed into this rotating drum. The vitamins are sprayed onto the flakes by a series of jets. The cereals are now finished, and they head toward the packaging site. This packager fills the bags with cereal. It handles between 40 and 45 bags a minute before they head off for final packaging. This plant doesn't only make cereals, it also makes soft cereal bars. This kneader mixes the ingredients, oat flakes, rice, and syrup. The preparation is mixed twice a minute. When well mixed, the preparation is poured into a large container. They will now proceed with the molding of the bars. The contents of the bin are emptied onto a conveyor, and then the preparation is spread out. Here they add chocolate chips to the preparation. The mix is compressed to the desired bar thickness by this roller. The bar separator then divides the mix into 35 equal strips. And then a guillotine cuts the bars to their proper length. The bars continue circulating. This equipment is used to line up the bars and make the packaging process easier. Side by side, the bars are here turned so that they run one behind the other. This roller applies a delicious caramel fondant to the bars. This caramel fondant then cools and sets. They're now at the final stage of production, coating with chocolate. About 180 kilos of chocolate are needed for the bar recipe. Now finished, the bars are ready for packaging. This machine individually bags the bars. Finally, they proceed with the packaging. These tasty bars will be enjoyed by children as well as adults.